Hey, wrestling fans, this is the world's most dangerous announcer, Gary Michael Capetta, and you're with Count Out with Mike and Tyler.
You are listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Seal of Approve. Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. My name is Tyler, and Mike, got a question for you.
Hmm?
What's up?
What's up?
Bet you didn't
What's up
see it.
indeed?
Bet
Yeah,
you didn't see that one coming.
and you know what? Every once in a while, I give you a little bit of credit for the clever things you do and say on the show, but that was a good one. That was a good one. Good for you.
In case you guys have not looked at the thumbnail, we are going to be talking about Mr. What's Up himself, R-Truth, which,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking off air about your list. His theme song could be an appearance on
Oh
that
no, oh
list.
no, sir! I learned my lesson. I will not be allow myself to be ridiculed for ever putting a theme song back on a moments list ever
Not
again.
even a good old number seven.
Not even a good old number seven.
I mean,
I learned my lesson.
to be
I
fair,
took
when
that.
you,
I didn't. The sad thing about that is I didn't only take that from you. I took that from you, from Jonah, from Jeremy. And that was a three-man assault that night.
well, I mean, to be fair, we were talking about Brock Lesnar that night. So,
And the fact that he's got one of the greatest theme songs in WWE history. Come on, man.
I mean, I don't hear Brock Lesnar rapping his own theme song. I've never seen him do a collaboration with The Miz on a theme song.
No.
Just saying. Well, let's.
And I haven't seen any pictures be unearthed of Brock Lesnar and Tupac together.
Right?
Speaking of which, he really's been making the rounds too. Did you happen to see his live edition of Insights?
Truce? No,
A few weeks ago?
I haven't
Dude,
seen it. I
take the
watched
time.
like a couple clips. I listened to his last interview he did with Van Vliet.
Yeah.
I will say also, I just listened to most of his interview with Matt Cardona today as well.
Mhm.
Big fan of what Matt Cardona stands for in wrestling. I like what,
100%.
and he's honest. He's like, I'm here to make money. $40. I just watched one of his vlogs from WrestleCon, and it's just so funny. $40, $40.
He's great. I have nothing but respect for Cardona.
Well, let's talk about some
But I don't
wrestling.
have $40.
No, neither do I. I don't have anything right now. But that's a different story for a different day. Let's talk a little bit of wrestling.
Let's do it.
Let's start off with huge match announced
Hmm.
at Barry Wrestling,
That's right.
sponsored by Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Oh, we're allowed to talk about that now?
It's released now.
I've been keeping this under my hat. I didn't know we were allowed to talk. Sweet.
I guess Mike hasn't been on Instagram today. It's
I
been
have
released.
not. I don't Instagram. You know I don't Instagram. You're
It's-
the Instagram guy.
It's been released today. Von Vertigo. Wow. Let's start that again.
Let's try that again.
It's late, guys. Mike and I are going old school today. Normally, I'll peel the curtain back. Normally, Mike and I, we record on like a Monday or Tuesday afternoon at like anywhere from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
somewhere around that point. It is midnight right now.
And you can always tell when we're doing it, depending on if I'm drinking a coffee or a beer.
You
What
are
side?
drinking both.
What side of 12 o'clock? What side of 12 o'clock we're on?
I think you got like a coffee in one hand and a beer in the other hand most days. But yes, for the most part, we record at about noon, so it's midnight now. Mike and I are not. It's not the counted out from 5 years ago. Let me tell you. Normally, we'd
No,
just be getting
we used
revved
to be
up.
able to do we used to be able to do this at 1 o'clock in the morning, full of whiskey, just going for it.
Here I
Man,
am.
we've aged in 5 years.
Here I am drinking my water at midnight, just counting down the seconds till I can go to sleep. At least it's Mike's list this week, so maybe I
We
can
got
maybe I can take a nap.
we got to invite Rory Fox back on the show. Get some old piss and vinegar back into us.
Not a boy, Rory. So let me try this again. Barry Wrestling,
Mhm.
presented by Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. It is going to be our boy, Mr. Van Landen.
The
I can't
barn burner.
I can't yell that because every time I yell it, it never picks up on the microphone. So
Can I tell you something about Van Landen? As much as I like his barn burner moniker, I love the moniker of the high octane home hero.
yeah, high octane
Love that.
hometown hero, Van
Love
Landen.
that so much.
And he's also a proud member of the Tyler Wolf Botcher Entrance Club, as instead of announcing him from
Is who in Barry is it?
yeah, pretty much everybody is a member of that club now. I announce him. He's supposed to be from the Sunshine City of Aurelia, Ontario, and I always announce him from the Sunshine State of Aurelia, Ontario.
Nice. Very
It
good.
just has a good flow to it. I don't know.
Well,
Um,
at least you got the country right.
there you go. But Mr. Van Landen will be taking on Shane Saber. It's going to be a
Which I love.
great match. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they've ever worked each other before. I'm really excited to see that match.
Big fan
I'm
of Shane.
really excited to be making my return to Barry Wrestling after 2 long months of being away. And I'm really excited at the possibility of seeing you at Barry Wrestling for the first time in
It's
about a year.
exactly a year. Last time I was there was Golden Glory 7. So I'll be back. I'm hoping it looks like I'll be back with my young one in tow. He's very excited to come back to Barry Wrestling and see all his favorites.
Yeah.
I have yet to have the heart to tell him that it doesn't look like Jesse V is on the card. He's very excited to see Jesse. He's a big Jesse V fan. But when he sees that one of two things he'll be very excited about and he'll forget about Jesse quick. The fact that Van's on the show, he's a huge Van Landen mark, so that's enough. But the fact that the Barry Wrestling Championship will be on the line in a match that I guarantee my son will mark out for. He's gonna love this big time.
Yeah. Kyle Boone challenging for the title against Mr. Gabriel
He's a big
Fuerza.
my kid's a big Kyle Boone fan.
I want to talk about Fuerza here in a sec, but before I do that, I want to give a shout out to brand new podcast that I've started listening to and slowly becoming a friend. I'm gonna give a shout out to Josh over at Kayfabe Central. Great podcast for a lot of really fun interviews with a lot of great Ontario talent. So if you are any, he's got some preview shows. I haven't got a chance to listen to any of his like preview shows or anything like that, but I have listened to his interviews.
I
Uh,
got to listen to his Holden interview because
yeah,
Holden's one of my favorite person on the planet. And I suggest any of you jump over to Josh's page and listen to this interview because Holden doesn't matter who Holden's talking to. He's always a good time, but it's always better when the interviewer is good.
yeah, Josh
Um,
does a great job.
I am very proud to say that we've had multiple very good interviews with Holden Albert on this show, and Josh held his own, and Josh sat down with Holden and did a great job.
Absolutely. So that is at Kayfabe Central. If you want to go over there and give a subscribe to our friend Josh, you will not be disappointed. And I'm hoping that there's going to be some collaborations in the future between the two of us. Three of
Absolutely.
us, sorry. Our show and his show, the
I
two
mean, we're going to
shows.
need other podcasts to help us push stuff that maybe we're working on
Yeah,
in the
we're gonna have
future.
a
Dun dun
well,
dun.
we're gonna have a big announcement within the next 2 weeks on this
Very
show.
soon, yes, sir.
I've gotten the green light that in the next 2 weeks we'll be able to announce this. So
Hmm.
very, very exciting stuff.
So you might see us promoting some outside work on other shows. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
But we mentioned him, Gabriel Fuerza, and I want to talk about very exciting things going on in the world of Ontario as well. Uh,
absolutely.
and that would be the opening of their brand new training center, which
New
is
wave.
New Wave. Yes, New Wave Wrestling in Toronto. It's going to
And
be.
and yes, if you're wondering if they ripped off the name from the school in the UK, they are affiliated with the school in the UK. They are part of the same family.
Yes.
They just brought it over right here to Ontario.
So the name did not get ripped off then. It
No, it did
got
not.
it got passed to them.
It's part of the same family. Yeah,
So, first of all, like, let's talk about the trainers at the school. It's going to be Jody Threat, Mark Wheeler, Gabriel Fuerza, Freedom Wallace, Shane Saber, and Alexia Nicole. I mean, I can't think of
Now,
a better group of people to learn from
before
than
we break
that.
that down, can I be a little transparent, a little honest right now?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with Freedom Wallace. Do,
neither
do
am
you know
I.
much about him?
I
Okay.
don't.
I'd like to learn more about him because if he's in a group like that, that is a class of elite athletes from Ontario.
And
So he must be very good.
what's so good about that group of people is that you're going to learn every style, every way that you want between that group of people. You
Mhm.
know, Jody might do something different than Mark, but Mark will do something different than Gabriel. Gabriel will
Yeah,
do something different than Alexia. Like, but they're all so knowledgeable. And
there's something to be learned from every one of them. Uh,
the big takeaway that I've picked up from the interviews I've listened to and the just the promotional stuff that they've done is they really want this to be a welcoming place. They want to make wrestling a better place, and that starts with the atmosphere.
mhm.
They don't want the drama, they don't want the bullshit. They just want people that love wrestling and they want to be coaches that are going to make you want to continue to love wrestling. And I really love that approach.
I want in 20 years from now, if my son is still, into indie wrestling, I want him to have a really good scene to be into. And the future of professional wrestling in Ontario being forged by these people, I have good feelings about this.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the world of professional wrestling now, and let's talk about the big announcement coming from AEW today. AEW is returning to our neck of the woods in Toronto Saturday, September 20th. We are getting the All Out pay-per-view. It is one of their biggest events that they do of the year. First time, maybe I could be mistaken, but I do believe this is the first time that it's not being held in Chicago as well.
Oh, is that correct?
They usually do it in Chicago every year. I don't know if they
So
changed it.
so so All Out's usually in Chicago and All In's usually at Wembley. Is that what they've
Yeah,
been doing?
that's
Yeah.
and then this year All In is going to be in Dallas, I believe.
Okay.
But what I will say, and I excuse me, I was talking to you earlier in the day about this. The way that the AEW storylines are going right now, there is a really good chance that we could get Kenny Omega versus Okada, their second match in AEW at this show in Toronto.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, take all my money now.
Sure.
But if that match doesn't happen, you had a pretty good alternative match, Mike. What was that there?
Yes, sir. If we don't, and listen, if you can do that match, if you can get that match done in Toronto, that's what you do. Like that. That's your money match right there. But if for some reason that's not the match you're able to do in Toronto, I think your money match is Kenny Omega versus Josh Alexander.
I would love to see that.
And people might be telling me that I'm having, a biased reaction here, and yeah, probably because I'm a huge Josh Alexander fan. But it only makes sense. Number one, he's from Toronto. Number two, he's part of the Callis family, which tons of history with Kenny Omega. Their styles will align so well that that match has to happen at some point. Why not at Toronto? Why not in Toronto? Why not at one of the biggest shows of the year?
Yeah.
There. This is. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is AEW's debut at the Scotiabank Arena.
No, they were there for Forbidden Door.
Oh, okay. I thought that was at the Coca-Cola place. Okay, very good.
Yeah, so this will be their second time coming there. And Tony Khan went on record to say that Forbidden Door was on his Mount Rushmore of pay-per-views that AEW has done. So he said that the standard is set really high for Toronto, and they're going to try their
Mhm.
best to deliver. I mean, AEW always over excels on their pay-per-views.
Agreed.
So,
That's
and
not where like I could sit here and tell you my problems or what I think the problems in AEW are, like I know anything. Uh, but that's not one of them. Them putting together a pay-per-view has never been a problem with them ever.
well, there's such a strong Canadian um, talent pool in AEW right
Yeah.
now. You know, we've got Kenny Omega, Josh Alexander, Speedball Mike Bailey, Edge, Christian, and I know I'm missing a few others, but like that's awesome. And what a moment! Like I would love to see even Edge and Josh Alexander. I would love to see a match like that. Sorry, Adam Copeland, the Cope. But
Nope,
I mean, what a great moment that's going to be. Just his entrance alone with that "You Think You Know Me" hitting, and
for sure.
like it's going to be an electric night. I am definitely going to try my best to get some tickets for that, and maybe we will. I've gone on some rants about AEW in the past and about how I didn't like that we got our kind of handled with their media a little bit, but
More than once.
I'm gonna give it another shot. I'm gonna reach out.
Listen,
We're gonna try our best to get some work
it's the way I
here.
look at it. We wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't at least try and put our pride aside. AEW is not the only company that has slighted us as far as we're concerned, as far as we feel with our pride. I'm not
Yeah,
going to point any fingers. I'm not going to say any names, but there's other companies that I feel may have not been as fair to us as possible. Does that mean that we've never gone back to them and tried again when the opportunity arises? Of course not. We put our pride aside and we do what has to be done for this show and for our listeners. Um, it's as simple as that. Unless that company is completely belligerent and disrespectful to the wrestling community, we're going to keep doing what we do.
absolutely.
Our pride is only it's only worth so much. You know what I mean?
Well, and you put together a fun little thing for Count It Out. Do you wanna pull the curtain back on our next guest that will be joining us?
Sure. We got a couple weeks going on, man. We have a couple really fun shows lined up in the next few weeks. I'm really excited. I'm gonna say next week because that's when the interview is happening. I'm not saying that's when the interview is airing. It always depends on how Tyler and I can put things together. But very soon you'll hear it. But in a week from now, we're gonna sit down with somebody who I've admired since I'm a kid. I he's one of my very first favorites that I remember watching as a kid. And I was so upset with myself when I didn't get a chance to interview his tag team partner with you. But B. Brian Blair will be on the show next week.
Yeah, Killer B, Brian Blair, president
I'm
of the Cauliflower Alley Club.
and I'm so very excited about that. And talking about the cauliflower hour, we are going to talk a lot about the cauliflower hour. Easy for me to say,
Past our
cauliflower
bedtime,
alley
brother.
club. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about it next week, but then we're going to talk about it some more the following week because one of the honorees of the cauliflower award this year is Harley Race. So we're going to be talking about that award when Justin Race, the son of Harley, joins us right here on Count It Out. But he won't be alone. We got a cool little thing going on. We're going to have a nice little roundtable discussion for the very first time. Something you and I have kind of wanted to do for a long time. We just never got the right people together. And this time we do. We're going to have a nice conversation about what it's like to be raised by true legends. And we're going to talk to Justin Race and Bronwyn Billington together
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
about their contrasting experiences being raised by wrestling legends. So keep your eye out that in the next month for that. That's going to be a lot of fun for us.
I'm really excited to get to meet Justin. I know you've been doing the talking with him, and of
Mm-hmm.
course,
Great
always
guy.
great to catch up with our good friend Bronwyn. I believe this is going to be her fourth appearance on
And I'm
Count It Out.
finally going to get
And
to talk to her.
number one for Mike.
I've texted her. I've talked to her off air. I've never interviewed her, so that's going to be very cool for me to finally be on the mic with Bronwyn. But I'm very excited about next week with Brian Blair. I'll go into this next week, but as a kid, I always considered the Killer Beats to be one of the greatest tag teams in WWF. Growing up, I think I still have that mentality, and it baffles my mind that nobody else does. Like that name
Their
doesn't come up enough times.
Yeah, their run was shorter than you would
Yeah,
remember it
I know.
being, right? Like as a tag team, at least in the WWF.
So
But
I asked you a question via text that I guess you were busy when I texted you. You never answered, so I'm going to get you to answer me now. The greatest tag team to never hold WWE tag team championships. And it can't be like the Rock and Roll Express or something like that. It has to be a WWE tag team. Is it the Bees or is it the Rockers or is it somebody I'm not thinking
Well,
about?
the Rockers is always number one.
Okay, you
I
put the
think,
Rockers over the Bees. All right.
yeah, 100%. I don't even think it's a close comparison.
Mhm.
I would also argue the Fabulous Rougeos over the Bees as well.
Over the Bees, really? Okay,
Well, I mean, and again, the Rougeos just had a longer run. You know what I
sure.
mean? The Bees run was short. It was
Mhm.
3 years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Maybe 4 years. Like they were.
But what a 3 years, man. When they came in, they had that mass confusion gimmick,
Mm,
which I'm only learning now was given to them. The idea came from Billy Red Lions.
don't you dare miss it. Yes.
Yeah, very
Something
cool
I
stuff.
something I'd like to hear more about next week for sure.
Hmm.
But so yeah, stick around for that. We're gonna have B. Brian Blair. I have also got a couple coals in the fire as well right now. We are pretty close to locking in a couple other interviews, but
Hmm.
until they are confirmed, we will not be disclosing that because, it's wrestling. Shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens. All
Speaking of
right.
shit happens, Natty was in the NWA this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure somebody saw it.
Yeah, I was really surprised that this event, the Crockett Cup, wasn't
Now,
available.
now, with that said, I think the success of the show, I don't know how you measure the success of something like that, but the success in quotations has at least sparked something because they've gone on to get a streaming deal now.
Oh, good.
They're gonna be having an NWA channel on Roku.
Okay, cool.
So all their stuff is gonna go there. That was just announced like maybe 2 3 days ago.
Nice.
That's at least something. But I just don't understand why they didn't, like, could they not afford the cameras that day?
Well, they
they
taped it. It's all taped.
like
Like
I
it's
don't
gonna air.
understand.
It's gonna air on their YouTube show.
They've been airing everything on YouTube. They've been airing everything like on their Twitter account. What's it called? Power goes live on Twitter every week now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very strange. But there was a way you could have had that out. You could have showed that live. It's weird
Yeah,
that you didn't.
I'm
But
sure they have their reasons for it. I mean,
I'm
that
way past trying to figure out what the NWA is doing these days. Way past that. I was a staunch. You and I had many arguments 3 years ago. I was a staunch defender of NWA for many, many years. I can't anymore. Yet, I hope maybe this means if they're having a little, even the smallest working relationship with WWE, this could be a turnaround for them.
where do you go if you're Natty Neidhart now? Like, what's the play?
Well, this character that she's now portrayed on both GCW and NWA is very intriguing. Why WWE doesn't grab that and go with it is confusing to me.
It's really interesting, and I'm glad they haven't grabbed this and gone with it yet because it,
Okay,
it doesn't make sense on WWE TV. Why do you grab this and go with it? Why would she just show up like this all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Like, I think there needs to be some form of a story somehow introduced to
sure.
make this change, right?
Well, maybe that's
Uh,
what they're doing now with the, because she's working with what, with Tiffany Stratton now.
Maxine
Oh,
Dupree.
sorry, that Maxine Dupree. That's who she is.
But it's interesting like to see Natty on the NWA on Saturday as Natty Neidhart the Killer, and then
Yeah,
Natalia on Raw on Monday in the Money in the Bank qualifier match.
right.
It's very interesting, but I think that you know I can see Natty Neidhart showing up in TNA wrestling,
Yeah,
right? I think that's the logical next step. And
I think so.
if I'm the WWE and TNA, I'm putting the Knockouts title on her.
Well, here's the thing. You can say what you want. I know your opinions on the woman are very low. Everybody else can say things, but Natty and Tessa Blanchard, that's money to me. You put her in the
100%.
ring
Listen,
with Tessa, that's
my
money.
my opinions on Tessa Blanchard as a professional wrestler are very
Have
high.
nothing to do with her. You have nothing to do with her being a professional. I get that.
I
I get
just
that.
look at the business move from
Yeah,
TNA. Like, what benefit has Tessa, positive benefit has she brought to the company so far? I just think it's been a lot more um egg on your face than,
sure.
but it is what it is. Like, Tessa's a hell of a talent, and
Well, from an actual in ring perspective, as somebody who was ringside watching her take on Gail Kim back in 2019, I know this woman can go with these style of legends.
oh yeah.
what her and Natty could do in the ring could be absolute magic.
It'd be great. I would love to see that. I would
Yeah.
love to see. I would love to see that. But who knows what the crystal ball holds? I think Natty and Masha would have a fantastic match as
I, I
well.
I said that for GCW. That's who I wanted her to face at GCW.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I think that's gonna happen eventually. That match has to happen down the pipeline.
Maybe Natty shows up in Brampton this weekend.
It's not out of the realm of possibility whatsoever.
Makes sense, right?
Nothing
But
is. Yeah.
who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, Alicia Fox is challenging for the title, so
Sure.
wrestling's weird. Wrestling is weird.
Oh, good
Uh,
lord.
Zoe Stark's got a pretty bad injury on Raw
I
this
heard.
week.
Yeah.
Looks like she blew her knee out completely. It
That's
looked
unfortunate.
bad. It looked really, really bad.
Mm.
So, best wishes out to Zoe Starks on that one. And Darby Allin climbed Mount Everest. He did it.
He got there.
He did it.
He not only did he get there, he planted an AEW flag. Good for him.
Gotta
You
love that for
know?
Tony
Yeah.
Khan. That's good
Yeah,
press,
so
man.
100% that's good press. Good for Darby, good for AEW. It's good for everybody involved. Uh Safe travels. I hope he gets down. Like I don't know how that works. When you work to get up there, is it the same work to get down, or do you just like take a crazy carpet and you know
That'd be amazing. Just jump on the
or
GT. Whee!
yeah the does a helicopter pick you up and bring you back home, or do you climb down too? I
I
don't know how
don't
that works
I don't know how that works. There's
because
snow.
it took months to get to the top, right?
All I know is there's snow involved, and I don't do snow. So best of luck to you, Darby. Like I don't do snow.
The fact that only like what 2 months before 2 months before he climbed Mount Everest, he got hit by a bus.
Yeah, well, no, he had to push it. He because
I
he
know.
broke. Yeah, it was pushed longer than that, I think.
Yeah.
But um,
Well,
Darby
I
Allin, front runner to.
not my favorite wrestler, but you gotta give respect where it's due, right? And good for him. I'm very proud to hear that. That's good.
A lot of people think he's the guy that's going to dethrone John Moxley for the AEW World Title.
I wouldn't hate that if they bring him back. I say I wouldn't hate that, but I would. Just because I don't enjoy his style.
Yeah,
It's
I
nothing to do with him whatsoever. He seems like a nice guy. I just don't enjoy his style of wrestling. That's all.
I just feel like I don't want to see him get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just especially after like growing up on Mick Foley and seeing Mick
Mhm.
Foley now, like I just
Exactly.
don't want to see it. You know what I mean? Like these
We
guys,
had this
like,
discussion last week about Sabu.
mhm.
Sabu, nobody should look like that or act like that or be like that at the age of 60. Nobody. And
So
Darby Allin's heading that way.
yeah, I mean, like even I say the one guy that's defied logic, but you can even see that he's moving slower now is Jeff Hardy. That
Yeah,
guy's he's got 9 lives.
yeah, something saved Jeff, uh, but even he is not where he should be at his age.
No, I mean,
You know,
I don't think anyone could expect that though. He's done
no.
some of the most breathtaking things in the history of professional wrestling.
And then his extracurricular activities didn't help.
Absolutely. Hardy Boys, one of the best tag teams ever, though. Without
100%.
without question.
We're gonna have a full Hardy Boys show one day. We're gonna have to break down the career of those two guys
I mean, you could do about
because
4 different styles of lists for the Hardy Boys alone.
that's it. Excuse me. Um, Matt alone, I could do a list on. Matt really, I remember in the first few years of the Hardy Boys, everybody said that Matt was the Marty. Matt was the one who wasn't going to really break out. And I remember being upset with that because I thought Matt was the better wrestler. Jeff was the high flyer. Jeff got the spots in, but I really thought that the brains behind everything, and you know me, I'm all about the psychology. I thought that was always Matt. And Matt went on to prove that because when they broke up, I don't feel Jeff did anything. Yeah, sure, they liked him, so they threw the title on him a couple times and stuff like that. But I don't feel like he did anything special with his singles runs. Where Matt version one was phenomenal. I love version one Matt Hardy.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I think it's a fantastic run for him. Um, I'd say 80% of the stuff, maybe except for Big Money Matt, that he did in TNA was great. he redefined his entire career and took his brother with him with the broken universe stuff. Matt is someone we're definitely going to have to break down on this show one day because his career in general is so interesting to me.
100%. He had a great run in Ring of Honor as the leader of Scum.
God about that. That's
Right.
right.
He
Who's
did
all
all
in that? That was him. That was what? Carino,
Kevin Owens,
Kevin.
Jimmy Jacobs was in
That's right.
there.
Yeah,
Cliff Compton was in
Compton.
there.
That's right.
A bunch of people in that. Rhino was in there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I will disagree with you, though. I do think that Jeff has accomplished plenty as a singles run as well. He really has done a lot of stuff.
I just found him the stuff he did in his single stuff was just it was the same stuff he was doing as a tag wrestler, just without Matt.
Well,
He
he's
just wasn't tagging anybody in. As a
multiple.
character, he never had a character. You know what I mean? He never
Yeah,
really got anything extra with Jeff.
I mean, character-wise, he did. Matt definitely did more character-wise, but Jeff held his own as a singles career. Like Jeff has got way more accomplishments than Matt as a singles career. Matt's
Yeah,
character work has been a lot
unfortunately,
better.
but you're right.
I mean, multiple time Intercontinental Champion, multiple time World Champion, ladder match with The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like Jeff has done his feud with CM Punk. Like Jeff has had a phenomenal TNA World Champion, right? He's done
Yeah.
really well for himself in the singles run as well.
No, I'm not giving him enough credit. You're right. I just think of the stuff that Matt did. It was just so that
Matt was
sticks with you.
just pioneering, right?
Yeah,
Like Matt
100%.
changed the game for sure.
He really did. Who knows what WrestleMania 36 would have looked like if Matt didn't really break the mold with that cinematic style.
Yeah, it's May 36. I mean, who
You
knows?
know,
Yeah, it would have just looked like a normal, like
I
all the other matches.
no, sorry, I might be getting my manias wrong. The COVID mania.
Yeah, 36. Was it
Okay,
not 36? Yeah.
yeah, I thought, yeah. So like, I don't think we don't get the Firefly Funhouse. We don't get the Boneyard match. We don't get those kind of things if Matt doesn't do the deleted matches.
No, I agree 100%.
Those matches were so, and I remember the first time watching that. It was back in, I want to say 16. The first time I watched it, I sat there going, what the fuck did I just watch? But then I watched it again and again and again. I couldn't get enough of it. That going on with that story, moving on, and then Jeff joining him and them doing more matches, and that tag team match they did where they actually killed Crazy Steve, and so many cool things. That just became this. TNA became interesting again for the first time in almost 10 years.
It's what
And
brought a lot of people back to watching TNA.
100%. And you have 100%, you have Matt Hardy to thank for bringing that back.
Yeah, everyone always just gives all the credit to Scott D'Amore and Don Callis, and I think that the Hardy Boys deserve a lot of that credit.
They jumped over that lump. Like they got to that point where, okay, we have something now. We're getting people back. How do we keep them here? They kept them there. They came in the house for Matt. They stayed for Scotty and Don.
Well, the Hardys were doing that cool thing at the time where they were belt collectors too. Like they'd show up in Mexico, win the AAA titles, then they'd show up in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was, and then of course
they did that thing with the Bucks at ROH, right?
yeah, they did the ladder match with the Bucks the night before. They did the ladder match at WrestleMania, the return.
That's right.
Which is crazy to do back-to-back ladder matches. Like that's insane. And at that point in their career too. Yeah, tip your cap to the Hardy Boys. But
I don't know how we got on this Hardy Boy rant, but
I'm all right with it though. But yeah, this is not a Hardy Boys show. This is an R-Truth show. So do you have any?
This is a K-Kwik show, baby.
K-Kwik, 2G is about to get rowdy. About to move some things.
Obviously, if you've been living under the rock, we're talking about R-Truth this week because he's in the main event of Saturday night's main event.
R-Truth is living under the rock.
Maybe. So of course, because he's having probably his last match against John Cena, he's getting a title shot, which is a rarity in his career. We got to talk about him. We got to break this down. How did he get here? Let's talk about what I consider to be 7 of the most career-defining moments for R-Truth. That's how I define this list.
Truth is cool because you could take this list a few different ways. So you could do like the top seven matches, you could do the top
Yeah,
seven career moments, you could do the top seven comedy
I
moments.
kind of kept his comedy out of this because his comedy moments, that's a list on its own. His man, that would be a difficult list because there's so many great ones. You know what I mean? He is without a doubt. We did a comedic wrestler list. And I honestly don't even remember where we put our truth, but if he wasn't one, then we were stupid.
I can't remember who
Because
we had on that list.
he, without a doubt, he is probably the funniest wrestler in history.
He's up there. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's number one, but
I'd have to go
he's
back to that list because I know Santino was probably quite high. We probably
Colt,
had we
Colt
probably had Colt
Cabana.
Cabana quite high, but he deserved to be up there, man. Our truth probably one of the funniest guys in the world, and we're going to talk about that a little later on the list. But I've never seen anybody break as many wrestlers as our truth has.
What do you think about the Saturday night's main event lineup so far?
I do you have the full card? I don't know a whole lot
I
about the show.
know
I've been kind of out on the product in the last week or two. I've been very busy otherwise.
I know the top three matches for it. So of
Hmm.
course we have Cena and R-Truth.
Yeah.
We have the big tag team match with CM Punk and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins.
Okay.
And we have Logan Paul versus Jey Uso for the world title.
Okay. So it's CM Punk and who? Sorry.
CM Punk and Sami Zayn, sorry.
Oh,
But I
okay.
think I said Jey Uso.
You did.
It's CM Punk and Sami Zayn.
Okay. Yeah, I like all three of those matches. All three of those matches good. That's a good opponent for Jay. That's uh that's a good partner for Punk because obviously it's not going to be Roman. That doesn't make any sense. So who should
No.
it be? Sammy makes sense in that spot. I like
Oh
that.
yeah,
That's fine.
Sammy's been sticking his nose in that business, right? So it also says here that we're going to see a steel cage match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre.
Okay. I'm about to say something that people might laugh at me for, but I hope this is the blow off now.
It will be.
Okay. It's I was a big advocate for this storyline. I loved the storyline. I loved everything they were doing, but you can only go so far. This has to be it. Finish this now.
No, I agree, but I think this has been a fantastic feud, and I think this
Me
is
too.
climaxing at the right point.
This is be a perfect time to end it. 100%.
And also,
Doesn't need to go any further.
they have announced that we'll be seeing a special appearance from WWE legend, the Native American Tatanka.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
so that's Saturday night's main event. But yeah,
Yeah,
headlined by R-Truth and John Cena. These guys have main evented one other show before, the one and only Capital Carnage show, when Truth turned heel
that's right.
and was smoking cigarettes on air because Vince McMahon caught him smoking backstage one time.
Mm-hmm.
That was his punishment. But yeah, I don't know, man. If you got nothing else to talk about
I
this
don't.
week, I'm
Let's
ready I'm ready to get rowdy, brother.
let's do this, man. The top 7 career defining moments for Ron the Truth Killings in all his incarnations. We're going to start off with something you just mentioned. Number 7, he wrestled John Cena at the Capital Punishment in 2011.
Yeah.
This match, just in general, has to be on the list because this is probably his biggest match to date. He to get in the ring. This is a newly crowned heel turn for him. This is something new he's been doing. He hasn't been heel yet. This is a really hot heel run for him. To put him in the ring with John Cena at a show like this is big for Truth. This is something that's really saying, okay, we actually can go with this guy. Let's put him with John and see what we can do with him. And it worked. This was a big moment for Truth.
Yeah, absolutely it was. This heel turn worked out a lot better than I think a lot of people gave it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we got the birth, and I won't go too much into it because it could still be on your list, but we got the birth of little Jimmy out of this. We got the tag team first formation with the Miz out of this,
Mm-hmm.
but we got people legitimately thought that R-Truth was going to win the world title here.
100%.
There was a really big push for this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was no way that R-Truth could win this match on the same night that John Cena killed Osama bin Laden as well. But
That's it.
I mean, well, you can't take down Osama bin Laden and expect to not like lose to our truth,
I
right?
I absolutely love that you said it like that because it really did feel like he was taking credit for it.
So I don't know, and I'm going to sidebar for a minute here. There is this brand new documentary on Netflix right now
Yeah.
called it's like the manhunt of Osama bin
I,
Laden.
I saw it advertised. Yeah, I haven't
It
watched it. But,
it is one of the best documentaries I have ever watched. It
hmm.
is so good. They
Does
talk
it
to
end with John Cena?
They don't even mention John Cena. It's the only red flag about the whole documentary. But they talk to everybody. They talk to Obama's speechwriter. They talk to George Bush's like second in command. They talk to all the people that were in charge of all of the like missions to drive Al Qaeda out of Afghanistan and like that were in charge of the mission to take down bin Laden. They talked to all the real people. They talked to the guy that shot him. It is so incredible to watch this and all the chess games that war is. It was
Yeah,
I couldn't stop watching
Inter-
it.
interesting.
Highly recommend watching it. And of course, you get it's a little bit, it's not even too much. Like I didn't even feel like they were like when you watch a WWE documentary and it's like, oh yeah, they're just bullshit and this and that or whatever. I'm
Sometimes,
sure
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure there was some bullshit in there, but it didn't feel like it. You know what I mean?
Okay. I mean, you have to take almost all documentaries with a grain of salt. I learned that at a young age. I was a big fan of documentaries growing up, and I was too naive. I took them all for what they told me as gospel.
Mm.
And the one that really taught me that lesson, there was a documentarian in the 90s named Michael Moore,
Yeah, yeah.
who
I don't like him.
neither do I at this point, but back then I did. And he had a documentary called Bowling for Columbine,
Yeah.
which I took as gospel. I'm like, oh, all right, like this is exactly how things. And then I got smart and did research, learned how things were, listened to interviews by guys like Matt Stone and Marilyn Manson. Said, yeah, he completely edited. Like that's half that shit is not how that went down.
Yeah.
He created that for his own narrative. And I don't like that. I don't like documentarians that are going to turn it into their own narrative. So I have a hard time with documentaries these days because I don't trust documentarians. But when you
This
have a
one
good
was
one,
really
you have a
good.
good one.
This one
Yeah.
was really good. Yeah, there's a two documents that I always recommend to people like for this type of thing, and the other one is the Night Stalker documentary on Netflix, also very good. But I like the
Hmm.
ones where they interview the people that did it. You know what I mean? That were there, that were part of it. Like I like the actual stuff like that. Either way, that's my sidebar. Um, Carry on with your number six.
But number six is Truth finding himself on the Survivor Series team against the Nexus back in
SummerSlam.
it. Sorry, I I even wrote down SummerSlam or Survivor Series, scratched it out, put SummerSlam, and still said Survivor Series. Ugh. Um, but yeah, he finding himself on that team, I think was big for. This is right before his heel turn,
Okay.
so this is when okay, we know we have something with Truth. We got to put him with the right people though. Let's make him feel important. Being on that team made him feel important. I think
Okay.
this is a big step in his career.
Um, yeah, I guess it was like a big rub. I don't know. I'd have to see what's not on your list before I would say like put this one on. But yeah, I mean it was a big step. It was a big match. I love this match. Like I hate the finish, obviously, like everybody else in the world does, but like this was a really, really good match. This is a phenomenal match, actually. Um,
Again, we could talk about many matches like this where if you change the finish, it's almost a perfect match.
yeah.
A lot of matches are ruined by the finish, and this happens to be one of them.
I just don't remember if you were to tell me like name me the team WWE, I would have a hard time remembering Truth was in this match.
I don't remember much in the match. I remember in the build to the match.
Hmm.
And I think that's what makes it important. Moving on, my number four is kind of a cheat because it's two different moments, but in one, because I think they were equally important. But it's Truth winning the US title both times.
Okay. I
Truth
didn't
beating
I didn't even know he
Truth
was a two-time champ.
Truth
Oh,
beating the Miz in 2010
yeah.
and beating Shinsuke Nakamura in 2019.
Well, that one was by accident.
But I think it was still a hey, this guy still has gas in the tank. Let's put it. Let's do something fun with him. Let's revive the title. Let's revive Shinsuke Nakamura, who's very hot right now. Let's do something.
Oh.
Is it as impactful as his win in 2010? No, but I think it's worth talking about right now
Fair. Yeah, I
because
mean,
it shows that he was still relevant in 2019.
well, he's never not been relevant for sure. Like he's always got a home. But yeah, he accidentally won the title and then they took it off him like immediately. I
Yeah,
remember. But his first run, how long do you know how long he was the champ for? I don't remember.
not long. I think maybe 3 4 months, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was something quick here. But yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, winning the US title is always a big deal.
Moving on. Sorry, seven. I got my numbers all mixed up. 765. So that's my number four.
Yeah,
Moving on to
he
my
only
number
had the
four.
belt. He had the belt for 1 month. That was it.
Was that it? Yeah.
Just a month.
But that was his first singles title he had other than the hardcore championship he
Yeah,
won
it's his
when he was
first
K-Kwik.
it's his first real title.
Yeah. Um and really like the only one he would ever really hold because if you don't count his 1 day championship as US and his one and his 9,024 7 titles, which I really don't count.
The 24/7
Yeah.
11. I hope we talk about that.
Well, that's a this is a good place to be at my number four. If you're going to talk about the 24/7 7-Eleven and all that stuff, let's talk about his amazing comedy work. That's just my number four. My number four is the fact that he is one of the funniest wrestlers on the planet. His ability to make not only the WWE universe laugh their asses off, but he breaks the people in the ring with him.
Oh
How
yeah.
many people can you say have broken Brock Lesnar right in the middle of that ring? Have broken Paul Heyman, who's always the consummate professional? Have broken Triple H right in the middle of that ring? Some of the stuff, and we're going very recent, right to now. The stuff he's doing with, I know he's been doing this for a few years now, but the stuff he's doing with John Cena was my favorite wrestler when I was a kid. You're older than John Cena. Like
He
it's
cracked
so
up
funny.
he would crack up the Judgment Day on a weekly basis also.
Yes,
Do
to
you have
be.
do you have a favorite R-Truth comedy bit?
I don't have a favorite. The one that pops in my head because it's something that I watch it whenever I need a good giggle. It's quite recent. It's in the last 2 years, but it's when he goes to the ring and he looks Triple H dead in the eye. He's like, "You're a crafty little genie, aren't you, Tommaso Ciampa?" Like
Yeah, that was last year.
that makes me laugh so hard.
I love that he mixes up DX and DIY all the
Mhm.
time. He calls Gargano Shawn Michaels and
Yeah.
Ciampa Triple H, and he calls Shawn and Triple H Gargano. I love that bit so much. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, everything he does though, the mixing up names, the coming out for the wrong Royal Rumble was
Yeah, he came up for the
genius.
women's one. That was
You
funny.
know, and looking having him confused because it was I believe it was Sarah Lowe coming to the ring, or what's her? I'm trying
Sarah
to remember
Logan?
Logan, Sarah Logan, is that her name?
Yeah,
The Viking broad, right?
Sarah Logan.
Yeah, yeah. She's coming to the ring, and this music hits, and he all of a sudden he looks at her, and he's just so confused, he has no idea what's
Gets in the
going
ring.
on.
He's like, "Where? What the
Yeah.
heck?"
Like
Um,
all these things that he does is just so funny. Go back to the little Jimmy stuff. Because I think at first that wasn't supposed to be funny right away, but he knew he had something, so he just went with it, and it became a huge thing.
I
To
like
the
when
fact
he
where he announced on the Christian Van Vliet show not long ago that he had pitched a little Jimmy action figure, and all it was going to be was an empty box.
people would have bought
Man,
it.
that would have been genius.
People would have bought it.
100% they would have.
I really like the when he came out for it was like a Money in the Bank thing, and
Yeah.
he's like this weekend I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna win it, and they're like, truth, You're not even in the match. He's like, oh, that's my bad. Like anytime he says
Oh,
that's my
the
bad,
my bad thing was great.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my bad. That's my bad. Yeah, truth
when
is,
he came out to make a challenge with Brock Lesnar in the ring, and then he looked at Paul and challenged Paul Heyman.
yeah.
The look of Brock Lesnar's face
Well, that
is
was all like
priceless.
that was all call in the ring. That was not planned out. Truth said
Mm-mm.
that on the Van Vliet show.
Just priceless.
Yeah, he's done some good stuff. Now, I will say, you did say something that kind of concerned me about your list a little bit here. You
Yeah.
said that you grouped the 24/7 title into that mix.
No, I didn't. I said
Okay. You
I
said
don't count that.
speaking of his comedy stuff, that's a good start. So we'll see.
No. You said something else at that same time that was getting me
Okay,
there.
okay.
The 24/7.
Yeah.
Uh, him calling it the 24/7/11 blah blah
Oh,
blah
call it the name. Okay.
is very funny to me.
So
So
I'm
that's how
hoping
that was the
I'm
segment.
hoping that we're going to talk a little bit about the 24/7 title soon.
We're not.
It's not on your list?
I hate that title. I
Yeah.
don't find and no,
Oh, Truth was
I
so
have
good with that title.
I have three phenomenal. I'm very happy with my top three. I wouldn't take anything off for this 24 title thing. No, I'm good with the 24/7
I
title not being
I,
on my list.
I gotta knock your Nexus match off for the 24/7 title
All
for
right,
sure. For
that's
sure.
fine.
Truth and Carmella together were so
They were
good.
very good together.
That has
I
to make my list.
yeah, okay. Um, my number three is his 2011 heel turn on John Morrison.
Okay.
I think this did massive things for his career. I think this really flipped things around for him. I don't know if they knew where they were going for him. He'd been back with the company since 2008, and I think he may have been getting a tad stale. They didn't know what to do with him, and then they had a bit of a tag team with him and Morrison. And you alluded to this earlier, but once they flipped him over on Morrison, he started doing the smoking thing. This is where little Jimmy comes out. He just turns into a real prick. And right away, I think the first thought that everybody, I know I did, was, man, why didn't they do this earlier? Why have we been watching a baby face Ron Killings for all these years? Look at him.
Well,
He's so good.
we saw what people like. We saw what he could do in TNA when he first got
Exactly.
there, right?
And it felt like WWE, it was lost on WWE. WWE didn't know what to do with him as a heel. But then they let him go with it, and damn, did we get some good stuff. This heel turn, again, it turns into his tag team with The Miz, which I think is another phenomenal thing for his career.
Yeah, that kind of came down the road a little bit.
Yeah, but it's all kind of part of this because it's in the same year.
Well, it's
Like
in the same year, but it's like
yeah,
a lot of different moments
yeah.
involved there.
But eventually, this heel turn leads to him joining with the Miz, and the Awesome Truth. To this day, I think is a very entertaining tag team.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous that I'm thinking of a couple moments in my head that I don't know.
I've got two moments left,
I know.
and we'll
I think I know what your one and two are. I
okay.
hope I do, but I feel like we're missing some here. So I'm gonna see how you word your one and two then, and we'll go
All
from
right.
there.
My number two is since we're talking about the Miz, we're talking about Truth and Miz facing off against the Rock and Cena at Survivor Series. I think
This is what I thought that you were
probably
gonna miss.
I think this is probably one of the most important matches in his career, if not the most important match in his career.
Mm-hmm.
This is the match where you just put Miz didn't need the elevation. Miz had already been in these spots. Miz has been to you know, where everybody wants to be. First, he's been a champion. He's been to WrestleMania. Being in this spot now, R-Truth in the middle of the ring with two of the biggest names in the history of the company.
The Rock's first match, and who knows how long.
100% in the middle of this big story, because this is really the John Cena Rock story. Everybody's just playing a part in it. So for him to be a part of that was big for R-Truth. And I think it deserves to be my number two, because I do think this is the most important match in his WWE career, at least.
This would have made my list. It would have been in my top five, though.
Okay. All right.
I still think that you're gonna miss something here that
Well,
I would
obviously,
have
because
on.
you know what my number one is. There's no way my number one cannot be my number one.
Yeah, I agree.
My number one was the fact that in 2002, Ron Killings became the very first, and I believe still only, Black NWA champion.
I don't know what Brodus Clay's background is,
Good question. I'm not exactly sure.
but yes, he was the
Uh,
first.
he was the first ever African American NWA champion by beating Ken Shamrock on the eighth edition of the NWA TNA pay per views. Those who are too young to remember those, I I remember these. I used to buy them every Wednesday. It was
I had the illegal
it was
box.
it was $10. It was Adam who told me about it. Adam's like, dude, there's this thing called TNA. Jeff Jarrett's doing this thing. Check this out. And when I found out Ken Shamrock was the champion, I'm like, okay, I like Ken Shamrock. Let's. So I jumped in early. I jumped in on like the third show, and I started buying their weekly pay per views every week, every Wednesday. It was like $10 you could buy them.
Yeah, 9.99.
And man, we I think we still refer to that as the Asylum days, I guess, or
Yeah.
if you guys have the TNA Plus app, and you can go back and watch this Asylum stuff if you haven't seen it, there's some, just like anything in 2002. There's some cringy stuff, namely Ed Ferreira. But you
Midgets jerking off in a trash can.
take that stuff. The wrestling is fantastic.
It is. You're watching the growth of AJ Styles.
Yes.
Jerry Lynn, and Loki, their feud for the X Division title.
Now,
What made
forget the
that
fact that there's
title?
flying Elvises and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
they had great matches though.
they did. Yeah, take Ed Ferreira is, I believe, on the very first episode, and he's dressed like James Franco would dress 20 years later in Spring Breakers.
Yeah, with
Very,
Axl Rose dreads.
very strange stuff.
Yeah, fuck Ed
Uh,
Ferreira. I don't like him.
but you only 8 episodes in, Ron Killings would go on to beat Ken Shamrock for that NWA championship, solidifying his place in professional wrestling. That was important
Yeah,
for that time period.
that's where the Truth character was born.
Yes.
Like, and it wasn't what's up, funny man.
No.
It was like the truth will set you free. Like
Yeah.
every time he would say a promo, the crowd would yell truth after each sentence, which was cool.
Yeah.
He had a lot of really cool vibes to it.
Up until he joined well, not up until, including, but he had a great singles run, and then he ended up joining Three Live Crew.
Mhm.
And I think people sleep on his TNA stuff.
Absolutely,
I really
they
do. When we talk about the greats from TNA, I don't think his name comes up enough. But
I mean, he's not going to make a Mount Rushmore, but he had a great run.
And people don't remember how long he was there. He was there from right at the beginning, 2002, right in the beginning, all the way to 2007.
Yeah, 6 or 5 to 7. He was tag team with Pac-Man Jones, our Cincinnati Bengal
That's right.
alumni.
That's right.
Did some cool stuff. There, I didn't hate your list, but I think you're missing a couple big ones.
All right. Go for it.
Um,
What do you got?
the Hell in a Cell, where him and the Miz came down and destroyed Cena and Punk and
Okay.
whoever. They got fired. That was a
Yeah. I forgot about that.
crazy
All right.
angle.
I like that. Okay. I
Uh,
actually forgot about that.
Winning the tag titles at WrestleMania with the Miz, huge moment in his career.
Was that not, that was like with the Miz? I'm sorry, I don't remember that match. The only
It was last
team match.
year.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Huge moment. Truth got the belt. The place went crazy.
I forgot. Yeah.
That for me is like a top moment. Um, his work with the Judgment Day is definitely, I don't know if it would make my list, but it's definitely
I lump that in with the comedy stuff.
um for me, I would personally give the 24/7 title run
Okay.
its spot on the list.
Sure.
And I'm pulling a U, but the good old number seven, this theme
I mean, he
song.
does have a great theme song. He
It's
does.
but
What's Up is one of the all time greats.
but I think you could have maybe given like him and the Miz their own spot as well together.
Sure.
As like not only rivals but as partners like they because then you could lump in the Hell in a Cell moment there, the tag team match with The Rock there, the WrestleMania moment. Like they've done
Hmm.
so many incredible things together. And what an odd pairing too. Like the Miz and R-Truth, like you would never think that their chemistry would be
Right.
what it is. And I think that's just a testament to how great both of these guys are. But there's nothing better than listening to the Miz try to rap R-Truth's song. It's so awful that it's great. Like,
I want to give two shout outs. Number one, to the fact that the man is the age he's at and looks younger than half the guys on NXT.
absolutely.
Okay. Um, I don't know what his workout regimen is, but he still has more definition in his stomach than I have in my entire body. It's ridiculous. So we got to give shout out for that. His one of his nicknames. I don't know if they only called him this in TNA. I don't remember them ever calling him this uh in WWE. But remember they used to call him the Suntan Superman.
Yes, I do
I,
remember
I
that.
fucking love that nickname. Absolutely love that nickname.
Uh,
Let's give a special shout out to Three Live Crew too.
yeah,
Three
absolutely.
Live Crew was
Great
so
honorable
fun.
mention. They had some
Yeah.
fun stuff. Conan would throw his shoe at people. Yeah, that was a fun group.
they were
Conan,
they were a
Conan
lot of
Road
fun.
Dogg, Conan
I,
Road
I'm
Dogg,
I'm
and
not gonna lie. I
R-Truth.
think I think that's the best stuff that Road Dogg did in TNA. I
Yeah.
wasn't a fan of the James Gang.
No, I hated
I
that.
definitely wasn't a fan of the VKM stuff.
I hated that even
You
more.
know what I mean? Um, once Billy came back, once he got with Kip Sop, it was just like, we've seen
Yeah.
this shit before. We don't need this anymore.
No, I agree.
Um, the stuff he did with Truth, with Conan, that was fun. That was original. It was stuff we hadn't seen. Conan would go on to do some other cool things. His stuff with LAX was fantastic.
I think
Uh,
that's like a highlight for Conan personally.
100%. I think Conan was able to kind of reinvent himself in TNA, which I liked because
Mhm.
up until now he was what? He was the hype guy for the Wolfpack. Like that's
Conan was
really
a
all he was known for. I'm just saying in
I
North
mean,
America,
yeah,
no,
okay, I
only
was
no,
gonna say he's
or
the
not North
Hulk
America because
Hogan.
Mexico is North America, but in the United States, Canada area, in Mexico, goddamn,
Yeah, it's the
you
Hulk
don't
Hogan
get
of
much.
Mexico,
You
man.
don't get much more over than Conan. They call people say that, but I wouldn't say he was the most over Mexican wrestler of all time.
Not of all time, but
Yeah, okay,
neither was Hogan. Hogan's not the most over
fair
American
enough.
wrestler of all time.
Yeah, I guess. But man, during his day, he was big. They loved them some Conan down in Mexico.
What I will say, to put a cap on this as we get ready to take it home, is that I think it's safe to say that give our truth his flowers. It's great to see him getting his flowers with this match with Cena.
Yes.
It's the perfect place to do this match with Cena.
Hmm.
And I think this match is going to be highly entertaining, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people.
What what's next for our truth? Do you think he's gonna wrap it up soon? What do you do with him after his match with Cena?
I think he just does what he does. He's our truth. He can
Yeah,
do what he can make anything work. And
yeah,
that's it. Like, look at all the odd pairings that he's had in his career, and it's worked.
true. One thing we did, it wasn't list worthy, but something we have to bring up. Another tag team he was in. You want to talk about odd pairings? The Golden Truth.
Yeah.
He did that thing with Goldust for a while.
Yeah, the Golden Truth, they were hilarious together. He was
Hmm.
tag team champions with Kofi Kingston for a while.
That's right. I forgot about that.
All
Yeah.
right. He's done everything, man.
Yeah, don't sleep on Truth, guys. Our Truth is he's gonna go down as a guy that was always solid. He was no I think that's why he's been around WWE for as long as he is.
I
Uh
know, it's funny though, like you said that, and it doesn't sound like a compliment, but it's like the best compliment you can give a guy in wrestling. Everything he did is solid.
100%.
Like when you say, "Oh yeah, he was always solid," it's just like, yeah, yeah, whatever. But no,
Well, that's why
being a solid hand for as long as our truth has that steady hand, That's a fucking impressive thing.
I
You
don't
know,
remember the
not
two guys' names, but there were two guys about 3, 4 years ago doing a gimmick in TNA where they were calling themselves the Good Hands.
yeah,
And I didn't like it because to me, it was almost they were almost using it as an insult. They're like, "Yeah, we're the good hands. Everyone just thinks we're good hands, but they don't want us for this, don't want us for that. We're just the good hands." Being a good hand is a good thing.
absolutely.
I'd rather have a 20-year steady career as a good hand than a 3-year career as, you were on top for 3 years and then nobody wanted you the rest.
Yeah.
You know?
Like if you look at a career like a guy like, let's say, R-Truth and compare it to a career like Alberto Del Rio
Uh-huh.
or Jack Swagger, like all these guys that had a title run,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like I would take a Truth career over the
100%.
majority of these careers. I was
No,
trying to think of a
he
couple other like one-off champions or two off like that had like a small run with a belt or like a main event push.
or even or you don't talk about the main event pushes. The guys who came in and right away Vince was like, "Oh, this guy's my guy."
Great Khali,
Greg, I was gonna say John Heidenreich.
Heidenreich,
Heidenreich comes in and right away, what was his the tagline was believe the hype. He was going to be the next Brock Lesnar. They thought for sure. Where the fuck did that go?
hey,
That went
he is
the
a
way
member
of
of the Legion of Doom.
Giant Gonzalez. Like
What a rush.
you can't always, no pun intended, you can't always believe the hype. My original number seven, and I pushed it off. My original number seven on this list was his re-debut, him coming back in 2008 as R-Truth and reinventing himself. The reason I pulled it off, number one, I don't like the way they bring it back and they pretended that we never seen this guy before. K-Kwik didn't exist. They never mentioned his NWA title runs. And I knew that's not really a thing they did in 08, but I think he deserved a little bit more than that. His re-debut was lackluster because he had a couple weeks of vignettes, and then he comes out and faces Kenny Dykstra. Kenny Dykstra,
It was at the
come
end.
on.
Yeah, Kenny was at the end of his push there too, right? So
Yeah,
it wasn't like beating Kenny Dykstra of like '07.
yeah, no, it was. I think they could have done a lot better with his debut.
I
Uh,
agree.
his debut should have meant more. His re-debut, I should say.
That's why it's not on
Um,
the
they
list.
they should have brought him in as, you know, hey, this guy was, and I know it's the timing of it. Had this been now, they'd be pushing him like crazy as Ron Killings, the former NWA champion.
Maybe.
But
I mean,
in
NWA
08, that just
maybe.
wasn't a thing.
I mean, if he was a former AEW champion, they probably wouldn't say much about
No,
it.
they
But
probably wouldn't. But
NWA, yeah,
an NWA champion, a TNA champion,
yeah,
the pretty much anything but AEW these days,
yeah, pretty much.
because they're open to a work relationship with almost anybody else right now.
Yeah,
And I think that's only because, I don't think Tony's interested in a working relationship. And
I don't blame
that's
him.
fine. You don't have to work with everybody, you know?
I don't. I think when you work with everybody, also too, it takes away the like the specialness, and it makes it normal.
Yeah.
So like like WWE owning AAA, like a great purchase for them. I really am excited to see what they do with it. But
Mhm.
WWE owns AAA. WWE works with TNA almost weekly now. WWE, and I'm not complaining. I love it, but like it just doesn't feel like jaw-droppingly cool anymore.
No, no. And the novelty of it has worn off, but that's going to happen anyways. And I do like that they're working with all these promotions because it's helping wrestling.
I'm gonna put you on the
Is it a,
spot.
yeah.
Last question.
Mhm.
I'm putting you on the spot, and it's coming from out of the blue. I wanted to ask you this at the beginning of the show, and I forgot. Any predictions for your Money in the Bank winners this year?
Oh God. Have they done any qualifiers yet?
Rhea Ripley has qualified. Roxana Perez, sorry, yeah, Roxana Perez has qualified. on the women's side. Solo Sokoa, I believe, has qualified on the men's side.
Okay.
And I don't think I've heard anybody else on the men's side. They might have just done something. I'll tell you right now. I got it pulled up here. Nope,
Okay.
just Solo Sokoa. Oh, Alexa Bliss has also qualified on the women's side.
I think they're getting ready to really push Alexa. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave her that.
I think it would be a very huge mistake to put Alexa Bliss with the Wyatt Six right now, also.
I don't. I don't. I think Wyatt Six is done.
No, Bo Dallas is hurt. That's why they've been gone.
Yeah, I know, but I think they're. I think they're done.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think. I don't think they're bringing them back.
I think they're gonna bring him back, and I just hope they don't put Alexa Bliss. She's so over right now. I feel like it would really crush her momentum. I'm with you. I think Alexa would be a great choice.
As far as the men goes, I think the obvious one for me, and I think we had this talk exactly a year ago, would be Logan Paul.
Yeah,
I
Logan would
I
be great.
I think Logan would do a lot of good things with that Money in the Bank. You mentioned Solo Sikoa. I wouldn't mind seeing him win it at all,
Yeah.
especially if if Jeff Cobb comes out and helps him win it or something like that. Because that and then that can like maybe once again put some pressure between him and Fatu.
Oh yeah, they're already building that up pretty nice as it is.
Um, Braun Breaker, I think, would be a good call. I don't know how I feel about that, just because I really want Braun to win the Royal Rumble.
I mean, having
So
now here's a scenario though, having Seth Rollins as your world champion and Braun Breaker holding that briefcase would be fun. Will he cash
yeah,
in? Won't he
yeah.
cash in? Will he cash in? Won't he
Uh,
cash in? 'Cause I do think that Seth will be throwing Jey Uso at some point.
I've got a name for you. It's a speculated name that people say will probably come back by this pay-per-view. Maybe he'll come back in this spot. Maybe see Cody Rhodes and the Money in the Bank.
That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
haven't.
to have Cody this part of the story now, have Cody constantly looming that briefcase over John. It could happen anytime.
Be fun.
I kind of like that.
I have a
Uh,
name. I have a name
yeah,
that I don't know if they're gonna pull the trigger on or not, but the people are ready for it, and that's Kieran Cross.
yeah. I'm not sure the company is ready for it. I think the fans are ready for it.
I don't know if I think what they're doing with Cross right now is very intentional, leaving him off of TV a lot, letting the us fans clamor for more Kieran Cross. He's
Mm-hmm.
got the number one selling T-shirt in the WWE right now. It's outselling everybody.
Yeah,
People are ready for it now. It's just going to be a case though where if they give him the money in the bank, are people going to lose interest? Are we ready to,
yeah.
or should we let this build up a little bit more and maybe give him an IC title run instead? What's more effective for King Cross, do you think?
I think I don't think they're even close to ready to put the world title on him anytime soon. I am not even remotely interested in seeing another failed cash in anytime.
Hmm.
So no, I don't want Karrion Cross to win it because I
We,
don't.
do you see him in the match?
Sure, sure, and he'd have a great spot in the match because it'd be like probably him. We know Solo. I'm gonna guess Braun. I'm gonna guess Logan. I'm gonna guess probably LA Knight.
Yeah, fair guess.
Um,
Sorry, I just dozed off. I'd say LA Knight. Oh God.
you know, I don't know who else. I would consider this to be a good time to bring up maybe somebody from NXT to the main roster. Obafemi
Yeah, Trick
would be
Williams.
would be a good spot for this. Um, yeah, I think at the end of the day,
I think
my
Carmelo Hayes would be good in this match
that
as
he'd be
well.
really good in this match as
Coming
well.
off
You're
the
not
Andre
wrong.
the Giant win, right?
And then your women's match, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Charlotte in the match.
Yeah.
Um, Probably Naomi, both Naomi and Jade Cargill.
I'd be fine with
would
that.
most likely be in the match. So I think at the end of the day, I think my predictions are probably going to be Braun Breaker and Alexa Bliss.
I go Braun Breaker, and I think Naomi might be the right call actually to go for the women's Money in the Bank.
Is
She's her
Bianca is what's Bianca doing right now?
I think she's hurt. She broke her fingers at WrestleMania.
Okay.
But I think Naomi. I like Naomi with that briefcase. I think her, Alexa Bliss, I think are great choices.
If Cody's not in that in the Money in the Bank match, there's a speculation, there's a rumor of a match that he may have at that show, and
What's
I
that?
am not a fan of it.
What's that? I can't remember.
It would be Cody and a mystery partner, and versus John Cena and Travis Scott.
I'm all for it. I think I that has to happen. You need to
Not,
pay off. You need to pay off of Travis
yeah,
Scott. I know you hate it.
I hate it, but you're not wrong.
You need to pay off.
But I'm just ready. I hope if they do it, then I want it done. I don't want to see Travis Scott any fucking more.
I don't think it should be a tag team match, so I think it should be a 6-man tag. I think you need to get The Rock in there, and because you need to be able to hide Travis Scott more,
Hmm.
right? You have Cena, Rock, and Travis Scott against Cody, Bad Bunny, and whoever, right?
Yeah. The other rumored matches for this pay-per-view, a lot of word going around. Another match involving John Cena could be John Cena versus The Miz. They're saying could happen at this show.
I'm not a fan of that one.
I'm okay with with John and The Miz facing off at some point in the next year. I don't think it has to be this pay-per-view.
I don't think so for me. Like Miz is just not there anymore for me. Like I love the Miz. I think his work is great, but he's a heel right now. Him and like he just doesn't seem like he's there for Cena's level right now. Like I just feel like, we've got Punk, you've got Cody, we've done Randy now. Like that's a big drop off.
The other rumored match is Punk versus Rollins. I don't think we need this again.
There's still got to be a blow off between it.
There's got to be a blow off, but doesn't Roman need to be involved in the blow off?
Depends where you want to go. Like
Yeah, I guess.
Heyman screwed them both over, right?
Yeah. And then the last rumored match is Tiffany Stratton versus either Rhea Ripley or Charlotte Flair.
Well, Rhea Ripley's in the Money in the Bank match, so
She's officially in that.
Rhea qualified.
Okay, so it's not her. I would prefer to see Charlotte in the Money in the Bank match, to be perfectly honest.
I don't think we need another Tiffany Stratton Charlotte Flair match.
I don't think so either.
I don't think we see Tiffany on the card at all.
Yeah, and I'm not, and I'm kind of okay with that.
I think you'll get another Becky Lynch and maybe Bailey or Becky Lynch and Vikal again for the IC title.
Sure.
Chelsea Green would be a great choice for the Money in the Bank as well.
100%. Put everything on Chelsea Green.
Yeah,
everything.
I agree.
I'm so over on Chelsea Green. She's probably my favorite women's wrestler right now.
Yeah.
Only because I can't believe I'm saying those words. I don't think in the last 10 years, I don't think I've said the words favorite women's wrestler without the words Jordan Grace being involved. But I don't watch NXT, and when I do, I don't see them doing a whole lot with her.
Make the most of your minutes. She's headlining their next pay-per-view, so
okay,
they're doing a lot with her. I just don't watch it.
I just don't watch it. Yeah, but man, when she finally makes her way to that main roster, we'll see. We'll see what's going on there. Can you imagine her and Jade Cargill, man? Ooh-wee.
Interesting match.
Got a lot of good stuff in the future of professional wrestling. Because if you're sleeping under the rock, you're
put on a t-shirt.
Yeah, you don't know what you're missing. Anybody who's sitting there going, "We're in the worst timeline of wrestling," is an idiot. So much good wrestling out there right now. I'm loving it.
I got nothing more to say, man.
I got nothing else either. Join us next week, possibly to listen to Brian Blair. If not, listen to us ramble on about some shit.
Yeah, that's what we do.
But probably Brian Blair. Sit under the learning tree a little bit under one of the just legends of professional wrestling. One of the greatest tag team specialists, one of the greatest, Florida Championship alumni. That man made his name down in the NWA Florida territory. He was Florida for a while. So hopefully we'll get a lot of big stories about that. I'm looking forward to this. It's so funny because I consider myself old sometimes. I'm in my mid 40s, for Christ's sake. I'm gonna be 44 in a couple of weeks, and there are stories I'm going to ask him that happened before I was born.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one of the stories I can't wait to ask him is about his match with Antonio Inoki, and it happened the month after I was born.
Yeah, he had a couple of good runs in Japan.
Isn't that insane?
Well, that's something we're going to find out next week, my friend.
100%. And until then, do your thing. Hit subscribe, hit like, send it to your grandma, send it to your grandma's grandma. Make sure everyone's listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. Hit up Barry Wrestling on June 7th for Golden Glory 8. All those great things. You'll see probably the Count It Out table make its return at Barry Wrestling. Stay tuned to this podcast because in the next 2 weeks, we have massive news coming out.
That is correct.
Massive news. So stay tuned to this podcast. We can't wait to tell you what we're working on. I am so excited to tell everybody about this. So until then, my friends, thank you once again for joining us. What's up? You've been counted out.
My bad.